start with, let me thank all those who have put in massive efforts to organize this event. Special thanks to all my fellow speakers and to the audience at large. Today we all have come here to put together our thoughts on how to rebuild our country and take away some actionable work plans from here. Myself, Sandeepan Kar, and I will be discussing about a few very pertinent issues. Issues which have been overlooked from time to time, probably because we have not looked at these from the right perspective. Now, talking about issues, our country faces a lot of issues, large number of issues, from population explosion to illiteracy to lack of infrastructure, lack of medical facilities. The list is long. But I just wonder, can pollution be termed as a national issue? Now, when I talk about pollution, what comes to our minds? Air pollution, water pollution, someone may talk about noise pollution. Come to think about it, we can talk about these issues, rather these pollutions, because we sense the presence of these pollutions around us. And since we realize their presence, we can take some actions to mitigate and reduce their effects. But I am going to talk about a very different type of pollution, thought pollution. We just don't realize until we see the most devastating face of this kind of pollution. It has happened in 84, it has happened in 91, it has happened in 2001. And it keeps on happening in different parts of the country in varying intensities. And just imagine the kind of resources, the kind of efforts, the kind of time it takes to bring back normalcy. A time has come when we should actually put that extra emphasis on our preamble, which states that all the citizens should be given liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. All citizens should be equal and should be given equal opportunities. But all this keeping unity and integrity of this nation intact. Just think, with poverty around, we still remain a nation. With lack of infrastructure, lack of education, lack of medical facilities, with corruption around, we still remain a nation. But thought pollution hits the very, roots of this nation. And we tend to disintegrate. So in my opinion, thought pollution is the most dangerous problem. And we must come together to find out ways as to how we can stop the propagation of this thought pollution. Now my next point. The next very important issue according to me is bad memory. When I'm talking about bad memory, it's not about individual memory. It's about collective memory as a country. Now, I'll just give you an example. Suppose we go into a mall and catch hold of some people and ask them to name a few freedom fighters. They will name Mahatma Gandhi, they will take the name of Jawaharlal Nehru, someone may talk about Subhash Chandra Bose. But beyond that, people don't remember. They will look at sky. We don't remember our national heroes. Who are we going to look up to? What about our language? I'm talking about Sanskrit. Such a powerful language. having the ability to unite this country from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, generally regarded as the mother of all languages, a 5,000 years old language, the most scientific language, just lost. It's almost on the verge of extinction. And what happened because of that? Since we forgot our language, we lost access to our ancient scriptures. And since we lost access to our ancient scriptures, we forgot our ancient knowledge. Now, suppose someone comes and asks us as to why do we Indians fold our hands and say namaste? We may not be able to give a logical reason as to why we do that action. And then he tells us that if you shake your hands, a parity is maintained between the two people and it makes communication easier. In the absence of a logic as to why we do namaste, we tend to adopt their culture. So just see the cascading effect. We forgot our language, we lost access to our ancient scriptures. Due to that, we lost our ancient knowledge, and due to that, we are not able to justify our actions, and that's why we lost our culture. So what kind of a nation we want to be? What kind of a nation we want to rebuild? And what we are going to pass on to our next generation? Friends, let's come together. Let's revive our language. Let's revive our culture. Let's know our history. Let's know who we are, what we are. Then only we can rebuild our country in real sense. My next point is about a very pertinent issue. I'll just give a few examples before I come to that issue. Let us go to a school. I have done that myself. But I will request some of you also to do that. Just go to a school, any school, and ask the students what they want to become when they grow up. The kind of answers that you are going to get. They want to become civil servants. They want to become businessmen. They want to become doctors, engineers, maybe defense persons. But none of the students, no student wants to become a teacher. Why? Why the job of a teacher is not lucrative in this country? What has happened? Where have we gone wrong? And just imagine, as a civil servant, as a doctor, as an engineer, your children will go to the school, will go to the teachers. And those teachers who themselves wanted to become a doctor, an engineer, or a civil servant, but ended up being teachers. Friends, a teacher holds the keys to the future. We have to realize that. A teacher has the ability to shape the future of this nation. And therefore, in my opinion, teachers should hold the highest pedestal in our society. They say that in a democratic type of government like ours, the governments do exactly what the people want them to do. So can we all come together and appeal to the government to make the job of the teachers the most lucrative one, the most sought after one? And then only we can rebuild the country in real sense. If the teacher holds the highest pedestal in the society, the future of this nation will automatically be taken care of. Now coming to my fourth point and the last point for today's discussion. It's more of a human quality which unfortunately we have slowly and steadily lost it. We have just lost that quality. We have forgotten that quality also, and that is sense of compassion. Again, a few examples. Suppose you are driving on the road and you want to take a right turn. The moment you switch on the right indicator, it becomes the sole aim of each and every rider, each and every driver not to let you turn. Suppose you enter into a building. The person ahead of you enters into the lift car and he will he will take all the measures. He will make all efforts to ensure that the door of the lift closes before you reach there. Why? We stay in societies, we stay in apartments, but we don't know who is staying next door. Today, more people on Indian roads die because of accidents because they are not carried to the hospitals on time. We have just stopped caring. We have just stopped bothering. Can we all come together to reignite that sense of compassion amongst ourselves, amongst the citizens of this country? So I have come to the end of this discussion. A quick recap. Firstly, I spoke about thought pollution and its impact on the integrity of the nation. And we must take a vow to stop propagation of thought pollution at the source level itself. My second point is about bad memory, collective bad memory of this nation. We need to have our heroes. We need to have our own culture. Let us revive our language. If we want to rebuild our nation, we need to have a strong base based upon our history, our language, our culture. My third point was about status of teachers. Teachers must hold the highest pedestal in our society. Then only we can take care of our future. And the last but not the least, the sense of compassion. We have to come together and reignite the sense of compassion. We have to build a network of trust around us. So, friends, as Martin Luther King once said, I have a dream. Can we all come together and have one dream? Can we all have collectively have one dream that we as a country, as citizens of this country, we shall overcome someday. Thank you.